government has supported concerted calls by CSOs and other unions for all presidential candidates to sign a national pact committing them to the fight against illegal mining so as not to politicize it. So in order to depoliticize this issue of Galamsey, government is open to this pact. Let's listen to the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he spoke about this pact, and also the running mate to the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh.
Let us work together to get rid of this man. And I believe that if the people of Ghana see a determined effort on our part, which is yielding results, our water bodies are clearing, our landscape is being reclaimed, our forest zones are being preserved, it will help them enable us do what? Bring the aid.
Certainly, the fabric of society is Galamsey. I just said, I am to wine. When you are tasting, it's only water that can break the test. We have to come up with our voice. Certainly, nobody must be allowed to mine irresponsibly and illegally. Secret number one. 2, no matter what, nobody should be permitted to mine the river. 3, we are not a lawless country that everybody thinks because of strength, go and catch part of the country and say I'm prospecting for gold. We should all live within the law. Small scale mining and responsible mining is good. In fact, the good law goes more gold than this land than anything else. Why? Because that resource will be used for the development of the country, not for the destruction of the country. We should hear your voices. If even though the parties close, it will be like a few years back when one president was containing Galamsey and illegal mining activities. One was saying, if you elect me, I'll give you all what? I'll give you all amnesty to go and start doing it again. The 2 women come to my mind. They also have a stake in the country. They don't want the country to be destroyed. They don't want the water body of the forest. The last 3 guys, the last time.
Well, you've heard the president, you've heard the running mate to the flag bearer of the NPP. But the big question is, what exactly will this Galamsey Pact entail? And how feasible are the proposed solutions? Towards this end, UTAG, in its recent press release dated October 17, says it has offered to take the lead in developing the National Pact on the fight against illegal mining. And according to UTAG, it has prepared a Galamsey Response Pact with strategic recommendations to strengthen the fight against illegal mining, which will be shared with the government for consideration and action. We will take a look at the press release in the course of the conversation. But joining us this morning is Dr. Jerry Harrison. He is the University of Ghana UTAG Secretary, and also Awula Sewa, the Executive Director for Eco-Conscious Citizens. Good morning and you're welcome, lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Awula, we have spoken to you extensively on this issue of Galamsey, and you have been very consistent in all of the things you're expecting from government. One of the things you have been consistent about is the need for a pact for all of the political parties to come to the table and append their signature to it so that it is binding. Awula, what should we expect in a pact such as this?
Well, first of all, we should expect the continuance of the state of emergency. We need to reclaim the degraded forests and water bodies. In order to do that, it's essential that we have a state of emergency. We need the revocation, complete revocation, not a limit, revocation of LI 2462, the perverse piece of legislation that allows mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas. Why it was passed in the first place is just one can't understand why. We also need a pause on small-scale mining. You see, even the big-scale mining companies, about 16 of them, we have difficulties monitoring them. So how much more the thousands of small-scale operators? We cannot monitor. Monitoring, our lack of enforcement and monitoring is not limited to the mining industry. We look at building regulations. People build where they like. What do the authorities do about it? Most of the time, nothing. We are allergic to enforcement. So because we face an existential threat, we are saying pause small-scale mining until we get our act together. I'll give you an example. In the Western North region, we had the Atronsu stream, which was pure, it was pristine. A while back, we saw excavators going there. We drew the attention of the Western North Regional Minister to it. We actually informed the police commander. To cut a long story short, they were able to go there. They've polluted the waters. They have destroyed farmlands. The police eventually arrested them, but gave them police bail, in contrast to the demonstrators who were refused police bail and court bail. They left and they have come back. So I have again been in contact with the commander to let him know that the excavators are back. But what is more important is that we alerted the EPA. This was on the 17th of September. Today, 18th October, the EPA has not even gone there to take samples of the water and to find out the extent of the pollution. So that should tell us something, why we need to pause community mining. Although they were mining illegally, they were brandishing a community mining license. And then we want all persons who were mentioned in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report to be investigated so that it sends a strong message that it doesn't matter who is involved in illegal mining, they will be held accountable. So these are some of the demands that we think are crucial to beginning to do something about illegal mining. We need to have a task force whose number is known to communities, so that as soon as communities see movement of excavators or chanfans or whatever, they can alert the task force who will immediately come. What is happening now is that it seems the task force knows when it seems the legal miners know when the task force is coming. They disappear, maybe one or two equipment is burnt, and then they come right back. What we need to do is to arrest the owners of these excavators and chanfans to try and get to the root of this problem.
Okay. Well, let me come to you, Dr. Harrison. Dr. Harrison, UTAG says that it's putting together a Galamsey response pact. You are putting this together, and then you are taking the responsibility of championing it and heralding it. What is this Galamsey response pact? Can you take us through it?
Well, thank you. I mean, I think that it's a very simple document. Political parties that are seeking power should commit themselves to sustain the fight against Galamsey. And so it is just a commitment, a simple statement saying, I, political party A, B, and C, led by CD and F, are committed to sustaining the fight against environmental degradation by small-scale mining, and all that. So it's not going to be paragraphs and paragraphs of text, but a simple commitment, because where we have gotten to, it is such that it doesn't matter who comes back to power. We need to sustain the fight against illegal mining, and a public declaration of dislike for Galamsey is what we believe would enable us to be able to hold them accountable to whatever actions they take in the fight against illegal mining or Galamsey. And so that is what we are planning. We have in the past sent a lot of document text. Sometimes they don't even read it. And so this is going to be a simple statement of commitment towards the fight against Galamsey. And that is what UTAG is planning currently.
Well, Dr. Harrison, you said you have in the past sent documents and sometimes they don't read it. How are you going to get these parties to come to the table to commit themselves to this simple pact?
Well, I think there's so much at stake currently. Ghanaians are watching and listening to the statements that are being made. This is the first time in a very long time that Ghanaians have been so united towards a single cause, and so we are hoping to leverage on the current situation that is so appalling to everybody, so that we try to get them to understand. We've already spoken to many of them, and they agree in principle to sign. So I don't think it's a big problem. It's mostly the commitment to following through with a promise that is always a problem. But we have spoken in the background to the political parties, some of them, and they have expressed their willingness to follow through, with their signing. And it is also because all Ghanaians are really, really appalled by the extent of environmental degradation and the fact that this poses a threat to every single individual. The destruction of the water bodies really has no party lines. And for me, it is really surprising that people are still at post. EPA bosses, Minister for Interior, they should have been gone by now. Our Minerals Commission boss, how do you sit down for such a thing to happen? In fact, National Security Minister should have been sacked a long time ago. If these water bodies and forest reserves are red zones, how did these people get there? That's the question that everybody is asking. Pollution of water bodies with these very toxic chemicals is really a war crime. And I'm really surprised that the international community has kept quiet about these things. Even in war, polluting water bodies is not allowed, much more in a situation, that we find ourselves. And so Ghanaians have come to the realization that our very lives are on the line, and if we don't do something now, we would all die in the final analysis. And so I am hoping that everybody seeking political power would be committed to the fight against illegal mining, and that they will commit themselves publicly so that we can hold them to account. Their various manifestos are being examined for the strategies that they intend to employ in the fight against illegal mining. And we are also listening to what the parties are saying on their various campaign trails in terms of how they intend to fight the illegal mining. And so signing a pact would really commit them in public to whatever they are saying. And so then we can hold them accountable to everything that they say.
Dr. Harrison, are you... Okay, I will come to you real quick.
I just want to, first of all, I want to commend UTAG and TUTAG for standing strong and being the conscience of the people. But let me be absolutely clear, just signing a pact for me is insufficient. I can say I'm committed, but you need to be specific. What shows that you are committed? The president put his presidency on the line about 8 years ago. Things have gone from bad to worse. So I believe that unless we are specific, we are not just signing a pact saying I'm committed. To me, it doesn't go far enough, and it can be quite pointless. What they need to do is to commit to certain steps. They have to commit to the state of emergency. They have to commit to flushing out illegal miners, everybody from our forest reserves and our water bodies. They have to commit to ensuring that LI 2462 is revoked and is completely revoked, not slipping in something to limit mining in forest reserves. Absolutely no mining in forest reserve. They have to commit to a pause on community small-scale mining, whatever word you want to call it. If we don't have specific commitment, it doesn't really help anybody, in my humble opinion. And as Doc has rightly said, in wartime, poisoning water bodies is a war crime. We're in peacetime, but we're not really in peacetime. We're waging war against the environmental terrorists. They are environmental terrorists because their actions are leading to maternal deaths, to stillborn babies, infanticide. It's leading to birth defects. And we all know that our water bodies are being poisoned. When Ghana Water Company treats the water, it doesn't remove the mercury and other metals. So it's a state of war going on, and we need to be very, very serious. People should not just sign a pact of commitment. They need to tell us specifically what they are committing to. Therefore, we can say that you said you do A, you haven't done it. You said you do B, you haven't done it. Otherwise, how do we hold them accountable?
Well, Aula, Otherwise, how do we hold them accountable? What role will civil society organizations play in overseeing the implementation and the continuity of this commitment? You're asking them to commit to specific objectives. So what role will CSOs play in overseeing that these commitments are strictly adhered to?
We'll continue the monitoring. And I like what was said, that the heads of the Minerals Commission and EPA should be considering their positions. Even Ghana Water Company, they knew that the water contained mercury and they couldn't remove it. Why didn't they bring it to the attention of the people? So we'll continue the monitoring, the advocacy. After all, how did the general public get to know about LI 2462 if we hadn't drawn their attention to it? How did the general public get to know about the fact that small-scale mining is not being adequately monitored if we hadn't drawn the attention to it? And we commend the media. The media, at least sections of the media, are doing a fantastic job. Professor Frimpong Boateng's report would have remained on somebody's desk if the media hadn't drawn attention to it. So civil society organizations, the media, and all Ghanaians must continue being vigilant, because Ghana belongs to everybody. And as has been rightly said, the poisoning doesn't know party colors. When you open your tap, everybody who opens the tap is getting the same water. So we have to sit up now and realize that we face an existential threat. Yes, we're not being dramatic. We face an existential threat. So we need to be very sharp and ensure that if there's a pact, there is specific steps that need to be taken. And civil society will continue monitoring. And we will continue saying that the head of the Minerals Commission must go for continuing to issue licenses. When we have been saying that this is not the time to be issuing licenses, this is the time to revoke all licenses that have been granted to mine in forest reserves, and then begin to do the reclamation. And as we have said, pause all community mining until such time that we can get our act together.
Okay, pause all community mining. Okay.
Let me just quickly say, so the pact is not exclusive from the demands that UTAG has made. It is not to circumvent. We have already made certain demands that we think is the absolute minimum for us to even call off the strike. And so the commitment that we are saying is really to further reinforce the fact that if we've undertaken these steps, we must not renege on the promise to sustain the fight. So I use the word sustain because it's absolutely important that we sustain the fight. Simply, we know that at some point people have to mine. There's no way, two ways about it. But we have to do so in a responsible manner, and those are the discussions that we are going to have with whoever is in power. So the point is that the government of the day may have their own agenda, they have their own plan of stopping, Galamsey and letting people mine responsibly. What we are offering is that we are intellectuals. Many of our colleagues have done extensive research in mining and sustainable mining, for that matter, environmental science and all. And so we want to be able to partner with government in coming up with whatever sustainable solution that we are going to have on mining practices in this country. So the pact, as I said, is in furtherance to the various proposals that we are going to be making to government, and so
okay. Dr. Harrison, whilst we establish your contact better, Awula, how far, is there any update to your suit against government, especially around the repeal of the LI 2462?
I am willing to continue the partnership, ensuring that we don't have any more.
Dr. Harrison?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, your network seemed to have been glitching for a while. So let me let you land in the next 30 seconds so that I can pick Awula's comment too. You were saying that the pact is in furtherance to the various proposals you would be making of government.
Yes. So the we've on government. Those are the absolute basic that we want to achieve. But what we're saying is that the pact is to further reinforce these that we've made, and that irrespective of whoever is in power, we want to make sure that we have the partnership, to be able to develop whatever plan they have in ensuring that we have sustainable and responsible mining going into the future.
Okay, thank you.
Because UTAG members have done extensive research.
Well, Dr. Harrison, your network seems to still be glitching. So let me take Awula's final words. Awula Serwaa, can you hear me, please?
Yes, but you have to mute because the background is distracting
in the long term.
It's distracting you. Okay, we'll do that.
So if you can mute then I can go ahead.
We'll do that.
Yes,
so we want to find out if there is any update to the lawsuit against government on the LI 2462.
Yes, we are monitoring closely because to see what has actually been laid before Parliament. And we also have to bear in mind the number of sitting days before the so-called revocation will pass. So we are monitoring all these. But let me be absolutely clear here that I believe that what we should do is to make anybody who wants to stand for political power office sign to basic demands, because certain things have to be done now whilst we are looking at ensuring that any mining is sustainable. They need to sign up to, as I've said, the state of emergency to flush out everybody from our forest reserves and water bodies. That's not negotiable. And then we have to start the reclamation. You can't do reclamation whilst there's mining going on. Upholding the polluter pays policy, which means that those who are convicted and found guilty of polluting our environment, any assets they have could be sold and used toward the cost of reclamation. And let me be absolutely clear about mining. We actually, in 2023, had $5.9 billion from mining. But wait a minute, only 1.7 billion remained in Ghana. The rest was repatriated. So it's not true that mining gold is giving us so much. Remittances gave us 4.6 billion, far more than what we are getting from gold mining. We also have the exports of non-traditional items, which gave us 3.9 billion. So if you look at the figures, we're not getting as much from gold as we claim to be getting. But what is the case is that a lot of money is going into private pockets. And that's why there's a lot of, a lot of outcry against a simple thing about pausing community mining until we can get our act together. Before people are giving community licenses to start, they are supposed to get something from the EPA. They are supposed to get a digging license, but nobody is monitoring. So they do exactly as they please. There may be one or two very good companies who are doing the right thing, but for the greater good, for the sake of the betterment of Ghanaians, for our health and safety, we need to pause it. I'm not saying ban it. I said pause it for a period until we can get the EPA to be in a position to really monitor and enforce. Otherwise, what we are doing is not going to achieve any useful purpose.
Okay. Thank you, Awula. And thank you, Dr. Harrison. Dr. Jerry Harrison is the University of Ghana UTAG Secretary, and Awula Serwaa is the Executive Director for Eco-Conscious Citizens. The conversation is on the Galamsey Pact, what we should expect, and what should be the key modalities under the pact. Dr. Jerry Harrison says that the pact is a furtherance to the various proposals that UTAG is putting across to government, and everybody, all political parties, everyone who is hoping to become president of the country should commit to the pact. Awula Serwaa says that the pact is actually waging war against environmental terrorism, and we should take it very seriously. That's the conversation on our front story this morning. Let's take a break. We will be back with sports and trends. Derek Kumiki-Siedu is on hand with that.
5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia #1 on the ballot.
One night, 100 leading companies, 100 coveted business awards. This is the Ghana Club 100, powered by GIPC. It's time to honor Ghanaian companies that have stood the test of time, made an impact, and are blazing the trail in their respective industries. Join us for the 21st edition of the Ghana Club 100 Awards on Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Palms at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Purchase your tickets now via the USSD short code *365*2100#. Alternatively, you can call 0243-534-559 or 0247-600-860 to RSVP. This event is under the auspices of the Office of the President, Ranking Partner, KPMG, Ticket Partner, Koba, Diamond Sponsors, Platinum Sponsors, Gold Sponsors, Supporting Sponsors, Beverage Sponsors, Media Partner, ABC News TV, Ghana Club 100, celebrating Ghana's business leaders.
welcome to the sports segment here on ABC in the morning. I am Derek Kumikisiedu. Let's do some local sports now, as Black Stars coach Otuado has described his side's failure to win in the home matches in the 2025 AFCON qualifiers as shameful and painful. The Black Stars face Sudan in a double-header, hoping to bounce back from a 1-0 defeat to Angola at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium and a draw against Niger in Barkane in their earlier qualifier. Unfortunately, Ghana was held to a goalless draw at the Accra Sports Stadium and suffered a 2-0 loss in the return leg at the Matisse of Fibri Stadium. The head coach expressed his frustration, emphasizing that it was unacceptable not to have won their home games.
And yeah, we have a lot of things to learn. I think in general, it's a good experience. You know, I know it's very, very bad because we as Black Stars we represent the Ghanaian society, the Ghanaian people, and it's really shameful that we didn't, at least win our home games to get in a good situation for our away games, and we have to do better. But surely we have to learn, and it's very, very painful. But surely we can use this to learn out of our mistakes. I think if you get this experience, and it's not only about getting experience, but also to take the right conclusions of this experience and to reflect on the right points from this experience and to be self-critical, and I'm starting with myself, and if every player does this, then will be on our...
Now, Otuado further stated that he is confident Ghana can still secure a ticket to the 2025 African Cup of Nations AFCON despite recent defeat to Sudan.
Surely I want to use the opportunity also to thank the whole technical staff for supporting me, even now after the game in our worst days, because surely we as Ghana should qualify for the AFCON. It's not over yet. Mathematically, there's still a chance, and we will do everything which is in our hands to...
Now, Ghana sit third on the table behind Angola and Sudan heading into the final games of the qualifying series. Now, the Black Satellites of Ghana were held to a draw in their opening game of the 2024 WAFU B Under 20 Cup of Nations Championship. Jerry Efie scored the 2 goals for the Satellites, with the second goal coming from a resulting penalty, and that secured a point for Ghana. No team in the group picked up 3 points, as host Togo and Niger also played a 2-2 draw before Ghana's game. Ghana's next game is against Niger on Sunday, October 20. Now let's do some international sports now, as Paul Pogba believes that there is no issue with the English FA hiring a non-English head coach for the national team, saying people should be happy about it. This comes after the recent announcement of Thomas Tuchel as head coach for the England men's national team.
Why not? I think it happens in other countries. In Portugal, actually in Portugal. And other countries also. Many countries have a different coach. A coach that is not from the... So it happens. And I play Football Manager sometimes, and I see that it can happen. So yeah, I think it's a very good coach, right? It's a really good coach. So I think the people should be happy also to have a good...
Yeah, on ABC in the morning, I am Derek Kumikisiedu.
Let's do some tech trick news here on ABC in the morning, and of course it's weekend already, so as the weekend is gearing up already, we are also bringing you some warning systems just in case you want to step out for a function or any activity. There has to be some safety measures or protocols that you have to see just to make sure that you're also in shape. So on today's tech trick tips, we are bringing you some alarming systems that can actually tell you that you are safe at where you are. Also onto our very first one we're going to tackle, it is called the fire system. But before that, fire system also have been established in the country, because most often than not, various activities that we go or show up, we do not get to find out all these things at where we are. But the first one, a fire alarm system will always alert you on the threat when there is a smoke detector, a trigger, and in many cases the system can also alert you where the fire department and other appropriate authorities of the fire. Unlike security systems, fire alerts system are mandated by local codes of fire laws. And so just in case you're stepping out onto a function and you find yourself in a very uncomfortable situation where there seems to be a fire outbreak somewhere, you should know that maybe if there is a fire extinguisher or any other thought, it can help you over there. Now the second one is a wired alarm system. Now wired alarm systems are generally very reliable and don't require higher speed internet or fresh batteries to work. Now one downside, unfortunately, to a wired alarm system is that the security solution will no longer work if wires are damaged or cut. Additionally, wired system can be difficult and expensive to install because you need to run wires through your building. But it's also very necessary to have that just in case of any uncertainties anyway. So that is the second point you should take note of. And on to the third one, we're looking at a wireless alarm system. Now, I think most of us in our various workshops or places have a wireless alarm system. Well, it's very important because a wireless alarm system is a security system that is not connected to a landline in your building at works. By using radio frequencies, wireless alarm system use sensors that can trigger an alarm if tripped. So the sensor can also use radio frequencies to send a signal to the control panel of the system if an alarm needs to go off. Now, one of the main advantages of wireless alarm system is that one of the is the fact that it's very, very popular today, and it does not necessarily need to be connected before you use it. So it can be used remotely anywhere you go. So this is quite a basic one that everybody, I'm sure, needs to have control about. Now, the fourth one is the unmonitored alarm system. So what is it about? An unmonitored alarm system is not monitored by anybody remotely or in a control center. Additionally, they do not alert authorities, and of course they do not alert authorities. Rather, an unmonitored system sounds a local alarm when needed, and it realizes that people in the vicinity being able to hear the alarm. Now, sometimes an unmonitored system can send an alert to an app on your phone if the alarm is tripped. Then you can also alert any proper authorities or respond to the alarm yourself. Now, this is a nice feature, but it releases to constantly keeping tabs on your property. I think this is very easy going, so you can easily connect it on your phone, you know, just in case you find any unfortunate incident happen. You can just alert the security via your phone. So you just tap on it so the security gets the alert of it. Now, this is very important. So the fifth one is the burglary alert. Now, the burglar alarms are designed to detect unauthorized entry into a building or area. So, in the banking system, in various workshops, in corporate, system working place, this, I'm sure every, corporate institution have these. But these systems typically include sensors or doors and windows that trigger an alarm when breached. So many modern systems also operate as part of central alarm system, ensuring that all security features work together seamlessly to protect the property. Now, burglar alarms can also be equipped with motion detectors with a security camera that identifies movement within a secured area. And so that is very important also. Now, take note that different alarm systems have advantages and disadvantages. Only some systems are right for some situations. situation. So don't wait for a security breach until you act now to secure your space. And that's it for Tech Trick on today's episode. Thanks for watching.
Nananuma Matna Kunia Brekumai Michiamonina Nananum Muhumi Hana Paya, Minemi Pinium for ya. Mijinaha Emma Osonoko Kruko Amanyoko. Mini Francatunia, Mede Osono Echo December 2024 presidential and parliamentary election. About 20 me bo apro ewo Ghana fananyina na maba Bono region and I pay Mabedu Brokum East constituency. Asase no so enda hokwa ewo neura enti na maba fie ha se membesre kwan membeje me onhira membeje me mpaibo ensana makodi ejuma bi diwo sa asase so nanom serie
GH, and this is ABC in the morning. Let's take a look at what is on the various news portals on abcnewsgh.com. Mahama says that the declaration of 4 seats vacant is a divine sign of victory for the NDC, and the spokesperson for the aggrieved UTAG group says that some members misunderstood UTAG's referendum motion, and this is the reason why they are calling for the halt of the strike that UTAG is on. Yesterday, Speaker of Parliament had been declared 4 parliamentary seats vacant, and NDC has filed a court injunction to put a stop to EC from printing ballot papers. Let's go to City Newsroom and see what is also there. The Electoral Commission says that presidential results for the elections will be announced for each region separately. So presidential results for each region will be announced separately. And Badmin's decision accepts Supreme Court powers. That's what the NPP is saying, or that's what the majority is saying. Majority says that Badmin's decision accepts the Supreme Court's powers. And the Ghana Association of Banks has offered 7 proposals to tackle fraud in the financial industry. Let's look at My Joy Online. Ahmed Ibrahim has told Apenyoma King that there's no time to waste. Accept your new status as minority leader. And Ibn Chambers has appealed to Ghanaians to ensure a violence-free elections. And Sassari says that the Speaker's declaration of 4 seats vacant can't be challenged in court. Very, very interesting opinions coming from all angles on this declaration of Speaker. The Speaker declared 4 seats vacant, and so many interesting angles have been coming up from that. That's all for looking at the portals, the news portals, for all of the news that is making the headlines. You should visit abcnewsgh.com for all of your relevant news, your timely news, and news that is really newsworthy. We are glad to serve you the news that you need. Let's take a break. We will be back. Stay with us.
Ejuma yaye ubehu se MPP ye nhihia ye de bagana ye nhihia e de mputuo ne mfaso emma Ghana nyina eka obia ohwe President Kufuor Breso ɔde national health insurance baeɛ ɛda so wɔ hɔ aka obi a ɔhwɛ school feeding program ɔhɔ na ɔde baeɛ ɛda so wɔ hɔ a ɛnɛ yɛtoa so yɛapagya school feeding program no for all the schools a ɛyɛ dwuma ɛka nkɔraa no nyinaa ɛnɛ Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo ɛne Dr. Bawumia ban so.
Happened in Parliament. Speaker declared some seats vacant. The NPP were unhappy. The NDC were happy about their new status. And ex-President John Mahama, who is on the ticket for the NDC on a campaign platform, said that this declaration is a divine orchestration that the NDC is going to win. Let's bring you some highlights from what happened in Parliament yesterday and all of the conversations surrounding it.
Honourable members, it is important to point out that the Speaker is called upon by the standing orders of Parliament, particularly Order 18, to inform the House of the occurrence of a vacancy of the seat of a member under Clause 1B to E, G, and H of Article 97 of the Constitution. Accordingly, I proceed to inform the House that by the notification of the polls, the following members of Parliament have by their actions vacated their seats in Parliament. The members are Honorable Peter Yao Kwashi Aka, NDC MP for Amenfi Central in the Western Region, now referred to as an independent parliamentary candidate for the same constituency. 2, Honorable Andrew Amwako Asiama, independent member for Fomna constituency in Ashanti region, now referred to as MPP parliamentary candidate for the constituency. 3, Honorable Kojo Asante, MPP MP for Suhum in the Eastern region, now referred to as independent candidate for the same constituency. And finally, Honorable Cynthia Mamile Morrison, MPP MP for Aguna West constituency in the Central region, now referred to as independent candidate for the same constituency. These MPs cannot be allowed by law and my good self to continue to pretend to be representing people that they don't believe in and they don't have any loyalty for in this House any longer. The House is accordingly so informed. Honorable members, I thank you for your patience and attention. Honorable members, please. Honorable members, may we
avoided service of the writ to do the bidding of the NDC. It's so clear, but we believe in the law. We, as the majority caucus, immediately are boycotting Parliament until this matter is determined by the Supreme Court. The Speaker has no right to interpret the Constitution, and it is so clear that what he did was to give advantage to the NDC and do the bidding of the NDC. We are not going to go further to litigate. We have a process at the court. We'll follow it up. If the court makes a pronouncement, we'll respect the orders of the court. But because we believe that the issues we have raised are issues for interpretation. Thank you very much.
But if not certain machinations, this should have happened from day one of this parliament. But you see, finally we are here. We are here to do the business of the people of Ghana. We are here to begin the process to reset our country. Our country has gone through very difficult times. In fact, oftentimes the people of Ghana have blamed Parliament for not standing up for the people of Ghana. But obviously, you can't blame the NDC minority because we were not having the working majority. Today, we have the working majority, and we'll begin the process to reset our country. We want to use this opportunity to assure the people of Ghana that the NDC majority will stand for the people of Ghana any day, any time. We will begin the process to move to the majority side and elect a new second deputy speaker on Tuesday. We assure the people of Ghana that we will also take over majority of the committees of Parliament. And we will do the work in a way that will benefit the people of Ghana. We have gone through so much as a country, and this cannot continue. We thank the Speaker for standing with the people of Ghana, respecting the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, respecting precedent and the standing order of the people of Ghana.
I am hearing from Parliament is true, then something historic has just happened. The report I am hearing is that the Speaker has declared 4 seats vacant. Of the 4 seats, 3 are from the MPP and 1 is from the NDC. So if those seats have been declared vacant, then it means in the life of one Parliament, the minority has turned to the majority and the majority has turned to the minority. So for me, God is showing a sign of what is going to happen. Because even before we have cast one single ballot, the NDC has become the majority.
So that's what happened in Parliament yesterday. The Speaker declared some seats vacant. Minority says that now they assume the position of majority, and the NPP is unhappy clearly about the Speaker's declaration. And the flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, says that this is divinely orchestrated. We'll have conversations on this. Be rest assured that we will be looking at this conversation into details. But before that, let's take business fix. At the beginning of this month, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, announced an increase in electricity and water tariffs for the third quarter of 2024, with a 3.02% hike in electricity and a 1.86% rise in water effective October 1. PURC highlighted that this adjustment was influenced by factors such as inflation, exchange rate fluctuations, and changes in gas prices. The new tariff adjustments applied to all categories of consumers across the country. In this regard, my colleague Andy Opondenchi visited the McBell's Company Limited, a water manufacturing company in the Ladade-Kototbong Municipal Assembly, to see how the upward adjustments is affecting water production in the country. So on Business Fix today, we are looking at sachet water production amidst the rising utility cost. At the moment, generally, sachet water, or pure water as we normally call it, is sold at 50 pesos per sachet. A sachet of 500 mils of water is sold at 50 pesos. Depending on where you are, the price may be lower. Since my colleague visited a company to see how they are adjusting to these tariffs, let's take a watch of the mini documentary on the impact of rising cost of utilities on water production.
The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission of Ghana, that's PURC, informed its consumers, Ghanaians, on the 1st of October about the increment of electricity and water bill, that's to 3.02% and 1.86% respectively. Today on Business Fix, we have come to McBell's Company Limited, that's producers of Bell's water and beverages, to find out how this has impacted their business.
Ever since this increment, we've not had the opportunity to increase our prices, because usually water is a commodity that is hard to sell at a price that the people cannot buy. So we normally try to pick the price at the barest minimum so that everybody can afford. And we have an association that is in charge of working on the pricing. So it's difficult to just say you are increasing your price. But ever since the water and light increments, the cost of production has been very high. And indirectly or directly, it has affected our income at the end of the period. And the economic challenges are also factors. Staff are looking for increment. So, in fact, it has made the company's progress to be very slow. Because we also want to meet the demands of the customers. So we try our best to produce to satisfy them, but we are not making much income.
Actually, for the sachet, that's the pure water we normally call, their prices has not increased yet. But when we talk about the bottled water, they have increased. Some has taken a lead by, we are expecting the other ones also, because that is what normally happens. And for water increments, normally the price margin is 2 cedi when they increase it. So when it happens like that, the sales comes down. So everybody comes in to look at what he can afford. So as the economy has been now, nobody wants to use money without, which is not being, he has no program. We use money for something that it is urgent. Yeah, it wasn't like those days. Everybody is calculating whatever he or she is doing. So that is how the market business is doing now.
We use pipe water for over some time now. It's pipe water that we use. The management is deciding to do the borehole system to save ourselves from the challenge, because ever since this galamsey, I don't know whether it's the galamsey that is affecting us or whatever, we normally have water interruption. The flow doesn't come, because sometimes we get water once in a week. That is Wednesdays. After Wednesdays, the water will not come till another Wednesday. Sometimes you get it three days in a week. So it affected the flow of production, and the customers are also complaining that when they need the water they can't get. But it's not our fault, because we are not getting the supply. Affected our production. But as we are speaking now, management is organizing to see whether we can also implement the borehole system so we can have constant flow of water. to help satisfy the market demand.
I prefer buying the 30 pesos water for 1 cedi for 3, right? And 1 cedi for 2. I prefer the 3 more than the 2 because the 3 can last long. And the 2, the reason why I'm saying that the 2 is also, let's say, standard Vortic. They are very purified. Like, they've gone through many processes. When you drink it, you don't have any illness or any disease about it. But when it comes to the 30 pesos own, we don't know much about it. More like, unlike the standard and the Vortic aspect. But we take it like that because it's normal.
So no, maybe turn of 50 pesos. First, and then 3 cedi. But you see, I have 30 pesos, you have 2. Into 50 pesos. 50 pesos in the ground, but sometimes it's minimum 3 1 cedi. At 3 1 cedi, no, we saw more back 50 pesos. Into sometimes in Bissau, who say, I didn't know I my 3 1 cedi because 50 pesos are 2 1 cedi. I didn't come by my 3 1 cedi. And I so say depend, you'll be any means so. Your Bella Qua, your yes, Vortic, yes, I saw special eyes into be any deal to turn by to be way dear, make us insurance so there, why heading. And the bonus so it was so. So yes, you say 50 pesos, no say why it is 40 pesos there. Ghana ya dey man so crampo dey say to be a cry say e too much once. And say there, it's only the why heading can.
In a day, we used to produce 3,000 bags in a day. But as we are speaking now the maximum we do is between 1,005, 1,008. 1,005. You know, because of the water distractions, we have to lay off some of the staff. Because the more you employ people, then the labor costs will also go up. And we are not getting enough water to sell, make enough profit, and pay all these people. So we need to reduce the cost by laying off some of the staff so that we can be able to meet the people that we are having. We can pay them well, and we can also be in business.
You know, we sell different kinds of water, including the sachet, but averagely, in a day, you can sell like 200 box or cartons or pack. Yeah. But normally when there's program around, the sales normally boom or increases as well. But the one that they use individually in homes, that is what the sales has really come down. Because buying the bottle one is too costly for them, so they prefer buying the sachet, which is the pure water, more than the bottle one.
For over 8 months, even more than a year, it's like that water challenge is there. So what I hear from people is this is because the Ghana water is having problem because of the Galamsey thing. But I've not really investigated to know that that is the main cause. Understand? But I stand to believe because initially it wasn't like that. The flow of water was there. We get water almost every day. But for some time now, maximum 3 days, the rest of the days no water. So you don't have enough places to store water. Then it means that for the next 4 days you'll not be working. You only work for the 3 days, the 4 days you'll be out of business. That is for a week.
It's affecting sales. You know, when they increase water bill or any utility bill, you know, in January it affects everything. It's not like those days we always think of when they increase the prices of fuel before things become tough. But now when they increase water bill, everybody knows that, oh, definitely, especially water and drinks, their prices will increase. And everybody is complaining about this Galamsey issues. Because we've heard several times from the media and even now the churches are even complaining because Ghana Water is complaining and the kind of treatment that they use before we get the water, the chemicals that they use, the prices has also increased. So we all know that the prices are going up. Though the market is slow, like by this time, looking at the way the weather is sunny, like the demand for water should be there. By now we are not. I think no company is short of water now. They have. When you call, they will deliver for you as well.
Number one, I would say our cost of production has gone up. And we are not being able to meet our market demand. Customers need the water, but we cannot supply that much. And because we are not selling much and our income is also not enough, the way we wanted to expand the business, we can't do. You understand? So we have people coming in with applications, but we can't employ them, and it's really disturbing us. My director is always worried when we can't employ people. You understand? So I think it's a challenge that is increasing the unemployment rate in the economy. And then lastly, what I would say is that this Galamsey thing, if there is something that can be done, I wish it should be done now, so that it will help in taking off all these problems that we are all going through. Because by and by, in the near future, we don't know what will happen. If we can't get water from the natural sources anymore, then it means that our business will also go down. So if government can do something, or those in charge can take measures to reduce this water problem that we are facing, to help us a lot. And to go a long way to also help us to employ others, so that they can also get some money to their pockets and take care of their family.
So you've heard from the stakeholders in the water industry, those who sell water. From MacBell's, at least what I'm taking away is that from producing 3,000 water, they have had to reduce to between 1,500 and 1,800 because they are unable to meet the production demand due to the rising cost of water and electricity. And they've also mentioned that Galamsey is taking a toll on their production. Galamsey ran through some of the conversations you had, and it goes to tell how much the far-reaching consequences of Galamsey on us as a people. So this is Business Fix on ABC in the morning. We've looked at water sachet amidst the rising utility cost. At the moment, averagely, a sachet of water is sold at 50 pesos. In some places, you could get for 30 pesos, and the price is a bit reduced, but averagely it's 50 pesos. Should we expect that sachet water cost would increase again? How many people would be able to afford sachet water in this period that we are in? That's all for Business Fix today on ABC in the morning. We will be back with the main discussion.
Advertise your brand or business on ABC News GH Television. Call us on 030-278-8645 or 050-993-0360 to secure your slot. You can advertise your brand or business on ABC News GH Television. Call us on 030-278-8645 or 050-993-0360 to secure your slot.
welcome back. You're watching ABC in the Morning live on ABC News GH. We're streaming on our YouTube channel, ABC News GH. Getting into our conversation for today. Yesterday was an interesting day, especially getting to the end of the afternoon. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbadagba, delivered his ruling, so to speak. He declared 4 seats in Parliament vacant. You would recall that former minority leader Haruna Idrisu had said on a campaign platform that the NDC or minority in Parliament were going to invoke Article 97 to have some seats declared vacant. And if this was successful, it would put the NDC in Parliament as the majority caucus, away from their minority status that they've held in this Parliament. Yesterday, the Speaker declared those 4 seats vacant, and at the moment, the NPP has only 135 seats in Parliament, whereas the NDC has 136 seats in Parliament. Who are these persons whose seats have been declared vacant? 4 persons, 1 NDC, 3 NPP. Let's take you through the seats that have been declared vacant. These are the constituencies. So the Fomena constituency, the Agona East constituency, the Suhum constituency, and Amenfi Central constituency. These are the seats that have been declared vacant. Who is the MP for Fomena? The MP for Fomena is Honorable Andrew Esiama Amoako. The MP for Agona East is Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison. The MP for Suhum is Honorable Kwejo Asante. And the MP for Amenfi Central is Honorable Peter Kwache Aka. These are the MPs for these constituencies, and their seats have been declared vacant. Fomena is an interesting one because he entered this Parliament as an independent candidate and is back aligning with the NPP. Going into the 2024 elections, the NPP acclimatized their decision by saying that he was going to represent NPP in the elections for Fomena, so no one contested him for that. Cynthia Morrison went into the NPP primaries, and unfortunately she lost the primaries. Upon losing the primaries, she's decided to go independent. Same for Kwejo Asante for Suhum. He also lost the primaries and decided to go independent. On the part of Peter Kwache Aka, the same thing. He also lost the primaries in Amenfi Central and decided to go independent. You would also recall that Joanna Kujojan won for Amenfi Central. However, based on an interlocutory injunction, the EC have had to disqualify her, and she cannot stand as the candidate for the NDC in the Amenfi Central parliamentary elections. So the NDC moved that these 4-person seats be declared vacant. Yesterday, the Speaker has declared the seats vacant, and in declaring the seats vacant, it has raised a lot of conversation. The NPP staged a walkout yesterday, led by their leader, Honorable Afenyo Marking. They staged a walkout. They were very unhappy about the Speaker's decision and believe that the Speaker has not been fair to the NPP. Even before the Speaker made his declaration, Afenyo Marking had sought the Supreme Court to put an injunction on the declaration of these seats by the Speaker, and the Speaker still went ahead of it. We want to understand all of the legal ramifications of this declaration of the 4 vacant seats by the Speaker of Parliament. Let's see what it bodes for Parliament, what it bodes for the NPP, what it bodes for the NDC, and how all of us can be educated on this conversation. We earlier spoke with lawyer Kwame Adofo on this. Before the Speaker made a declaration, he had a lot to say about it. Now that the declaration has been made, it's just right that we go back to him and then speak with him. We'll be speaking with him and another lawyer on this conversation and another legal expert on this conversation. Lawyer Kwame Adofo is a constitutional lawyer. Thank you for joining us, Kwame.
Thank you, my sister.
You initially mentioned that the NDC's quest was going to be an exercise in futility. It has clearly yielded some results. What do you make of the Speaker's ruling?
Let me greet you again and your listeners and your people viewing you. In terms of the element of surprise, I don't think I was extremely surprised because of the boldness in which Honorable Haruna made it on the stage. It sounds, or he was very convinced that that's what is going to happen, meaning that they had spoken and they had designed, calculated that move that it was going to happen. And there was no way that the speaker was going to be able to go against them, because they would have had a prior meeting and concluded that that was the way they are going to do. So in terms of the move, I don't think I'm that surprised. However, whether legally that is tenable is another story. You see, Parliament is the master of itself. It can make all the laws that it so wishes. However, it has to be constitutional. It has to be legal. And it cannot be constitutional or legally correct until it's been tested. Now, as far as the speaker is concerned, he was caught between the rock and the hard place, in the sense that he had no choice. There was already a precedent that is laid by Speaker Michael Quay that he can declare a seat vacant, which had been done by Michael Quay, and therefore he had no choice than to follow it. Whether that decision is also correct, it's a different matter. So now, there is an interesting aspect to all of this, because Article 99 of the Constitution is absolutely clear. It says the High Court shall have jurisdiction to determine whether a person has been validly elected or a seat has become vacant. That's very important. So you ask yourself, has the High Court made that determination that the seat should be declared vacant? That's obviously no. Now, it means the court has to come in to determine whether it is correct that a speaker has so much power that he can validly declare somebody's seat vacant. That is where we are now. We are at a crossroads. Now, in terms of the futility argument that I made the last time we spoke, was that even if that decision is made, which it is now made, it will still have to be tested in court to see whether that decision is correct. So my position at this stage is that this matter has to be resolved in court. Unfortunately, we don't have a precedent, because in the case of Asiama, Honorable Asiama, when previous Speaker Michael Quay made that decision, he did not challenge it, he did not test it. So we don't really have a precedent in that area. And therefore, this is the time for this matter.
It is important to point out that
Lawyer Dofo.
I heard somebody talking. I thought you were asking a question. The Constitution makes it clear that under Article 99, it's the High Court that has jurisdiction to determine that matter. Are we saying a speaker is now a High Court? Is that what we are saying? And there are several scenarios that I was canvassing previously. Imagine a situation where we have a rogue member of Parliament, where both sides don't really like. And they say, okay, let's get rid of this guy. Let's go together and declare his seat vacant. Let's think about a scenario like that. And then the speaker, knowing he's got the support of both sides, one day rises and says, oh, this guy has missed more than 15 days sitting, and therefore that is the ground for me to declare his seat vacant. Assuming that happens, then what happens to the High Court having jurisdiction to determine such a situation? See, that's where we are. It's very dangerous to give a speaker so much power. And I think this is the time for us to get a court opinion on this. to see whether it is correct that indeed a speaker alone can make that decision and overturn a seat that belongs to the constituency. Unfortunately, ordinarily, this would not have been a big deal because it's just a question of calling for a by-election. But in this case, a by-election cannot be held within 3 months of a general election. That means there will be no people representing those 4 constituencies until the next election. That's where we are now. So I think this is the time for the court to come in.
This is the time for the court to come in. In this case, who takes this matter to the court so that the court can come in?
First, the aggrieved persons must quickly go to court and file an application for injunction to stop them.
But Honorable Afenyo-Markin has already gone to the Supreme Court on this matter.
But there should be, in addition to that, the individuals must also sue the speaker and see what the court will also say. And this is a matter of super urgency that we need to have a determination of. And I think that's my position at this stage.
But at the moment, some of these persons, do you believe that they will they will sue? Because some of them are going to stand as independent persons. Maybe they are not too sure about the outcome in the elections. You believe that they would have the time to take this matter up to High Court?
Somebody like Siama, he has every reason to do it because he's an independent member. Now joining the majority party. The majority party will support him to do it. So they will be behind the scene, supporting him financially to go ahead and challenge the decision. And I think he should. Not only for himself, as you correctly put it, that they themselves have, some don't really care, because they're going to campaign, they know they're going to win anyway. But that is not the point. The point is for the future situation of this country. We need to be absolutely sure whether a speaker alone has that power to declare a seat vacant. Okay. That is where my position is.
Lawyer Adofo, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you real soon. Dr. Rashid Dramani, the Executive Director for ASEPA, joins us, the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. So let's talk to him too. Dr. Dramani, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Speaker has made this declaration. The NDC is happy, the NPP is unhappy. Parliamentary Affairs, what do you have to say about this declaration by the Speaker? Is he on the right tangent?
Well, I mean, that's his interpretation of what the constitutional provision says. And I'm just pleased that the MPP has decided to go to court. So I think let the court determine whether the reading of the Right Honourable Speaker is wrong or is right. I mean, but from where we sit, our reading is similar to what the Right Honourable Speaker, the ruling that he gave. I think the Constitution in my reading and in the reading of many people, the Constitution is clear. And there are those who argue that this is about the future and so on. If it's about the future, then which parliament are we talking about? If it's about the future, then the constitutional provision is not clear, and we need the Supreme Court to rule on it. I mean, I've heard a little bit the tail end of your conversation with the learned lawyer that was speaking before me, and he's saying he's encouraging Andrew Siama, Right Honourable Second Deputy Speaker, to go to court. So my question is, why didn't he go to court 4 years ago when a similar fate was visited on him? I mean, through the ruling of the Right Honourable Michael Quay. I think that's a relevant question to ask. Whatever it is, I think parliamentary business cooperation, collaboration is going to suffer going forward for the rest of the tenure of this parliament, because the relationship between the Speaker and the MPP, I think, has broken down. I hope they can repair that. because yesterday, you know, from the comments by the majority leader then, and then the commentary that we have heard since then, seem to suggest that the NPP side is not happy with the speaker, and well, I believe that's their right, because the ruling didn't go in their favor. The NDC side is jubilating. So, assuming this ruling stands, the MPP has said they are not going to cooperate until the Supreme Court pronounces. If the Supreme Court upholds this, I believe their attitude and approach towards Parliament might not be the same. If this ruling is overturned, then I believe the NDC side is also now going to be the losing side, and we might see a situation where they might also say we are not going to cooperate. So however you look at it, the last part of the life of this Parliament is not going to be one that will be pleasant. But, you know, for me, the bigger question that most people are not asking is what has given rise to all this. And it goes back to the actions of the two political parties. I think they ought to learn from their own history and leave, you know, the citizens to decide who they want to lead them in a very fair, free manner. Then if people lose and they think that they lost, there are a number of MPs who have lost, incumbents who have lost, and I think they have taken it in good faith because they believe the process was free and fair. But in these instances where NDC and MPP have been accused by these sitting MPs, I think there is some lesson there for the parties to make sure that going forward, let the processes be transparent, let the processes be free, because at the end of the day, the parties themselves are calling for free and fair general elections. They have to practice it themselves. Leave the citizens to decide who to lead them. Then we will be saved the trouble of going through all these challenges at a time when they should be dealing with Galamsey. Now the attention of the country has shifted to dealing with, you know, the ruling of the Right Honourable Speaker. So those are my comments on this.
Just after the ruling had indicated that they would start the procedure to reconfigure the House, how long do you think it would take for this to completely take place?
Well, I mean, there is the fiscal part of it, I mean, which is, I mean, the two sides moving to, I mean, different sides of the House. I mean, that I believe is not I mean, going to be a long process. But I think what is going to be long is the processes of electing the Speaker, the second Deputy Speaker, the processes of, you know, reorganizing parliamentary committees and so on. Those that will require simple majority, or at least more than, I believe, is usually kind of half of the House to make a decision. Those might suffer and those might take time, for instance, if the other side doesn't come into the House. So we are in interesting times and we wait to see how this will unfold. So, I mean, just to restate what I'm saying, the fiscal part of reorganization is going to be a very simple process. But I believe the soft part of it is the one that might come against a number of hurdles.
Dr. Drummond, is one of the reasons why we're asking if this decision by the NDC is not a time-wasting one, an exercise that is just to waste the time of the people, because in all of these, if indeed some changes must be done in Parliament and one side is not coming, it means that we leave Parliament at loss to the work that they have to do. The impact, how grave is this impact going to be on parliamentary business?
Well, I mean, the impact is going to be grave. That one, I think nobody should say anything apart from that. But at the end of the day, I think if, for instance, Parliament decides to turn a blind eye to this, somebody would have taken Parliament to court and say, look, you are sitting down and there's an illegality that is going on. A lawmaking body is turning a blind eye to it. So I guess this is all part of growing our democracy. If the Supreme Court comes in and says, and I hope they look at this very quickly, if they come in and say, what the Speaker did was wrong, I think we will all be guided and it will only strengthen our democratic practice going forward.
Dr. Draman, do you think that if there was a clear majority in Parliament, the NDC would have gone on this tangent?
No, certainly. I mean, this is all about balance of power. So that one, we all have to admit that. And the MPP also did not go on that tangent, also because of the balance of power. Because 4 years ago, they wrote to the Speaker. This time, they did not. Right? So I think both of them are looking at the numbers, and it's all about balance of power. So I just hope, for those of us who watch Parliament, we hope that we'll continue to have hung parliaments and we'll continue to have parliaments where both parties would move from their comfort zones to a discomfort zone where they have to negotiate and they have to compromise, because it's good for our democracy.
Well, Dr. Draman, before you go, the flag bearer for the NDC believes that this strategically places the NDC in winning this year's elections. When you do a projection, do you think that what happened yesterday in Parliament will have a direct bearing on the results of the elections come December 7?
I'm not one of the prophets who predicts elections, so I will not be able to say anything about this. But let the NDC enjoy the glory for, as long as it lasts, and if indeed they get to hold this majority, Ghanaians will be watching very closely to see what they do with it, and that will be a sign, and it will give us a signal as to whether we should give them a majority on December 7 or not.
Okay, Ghanaians will be watching closely. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Draman.
Thank you.
Lawyer Dofo, thank you for still staying with us. Let's come back to the legal side of all of these things. You have said that Parliament is a master of itself. However, Parliament has to also look at the Constitution and make sure they are going by rules. You've mentioned Article 99. This matter is at the Supreme Court as sent by Honorable Afenyu Markin. You have also said that it will be necessary that one of the parties whose seats have been declared vacant take it up to the High Court. In the event that all four decide that, it's just 2 months into the election, let it slide, what becomes of Parliament? What becomes of our Constitution and the clauses and the rules that are stated in it that we must follow?
Let me quickly address a point that my venerable doctor raised, and before I come to your question, the doctor said somebody would have taken Parliament to court when there's clearly an illegality taking place in Parliament. That, I'm afraid I disagree with him, in the sense that when you say there's an illegality taking place, what does that mean? And this is what I think when I was talking to you, I said we need an interpretation. Are we talking about this Parliament or future Parliament? If we are talking about this Parliament, the question is, have they crossed the carpet? Have the MP people gone and joined the NDC and said we've crossed the carpet? Or has the NDC or NPP person or NDC person crossed and said, I want to remain in this Parliament as an independent? This is where the key is. Remain in this Parliament. That's the That's the text of the Constitution, 97, that he used. And he says, and seeks to remain in Parliament. Now, are we talking about future Parliament or this Parliament? That's where I say this decision needs an interpretation from the court. And my friend also said that why is it that Mr. Siama did not go to court when it happened to him? I agree with him. Mr. Siama should have gone to court, because then we would not have been here. If Mr. Siama or Honorable Siama had gone to court, definitely we would have known what will happen now. But because he chose not to go to court, because at that time they had made a decision that they don't want to see him, and he himself thought maybe, tough it, I can win it anyway. Maybe he decided not to go to court. But it's happened to him again. This is the second time it's happened. Twice bitten, once bitten, twice shy. You have to be very careful. And I think it is absolutely important that somebody takes this matter to court for us to ascertain the correct position of the law. Then we know the way forward. Now, you asked a question about Parliament, business, and so on. Now, we have less than 2 months. It's 59 or so days to the next election. So I can bet on you or myself that no serious business will be done. You know why? Because NDC will have to introduce bills. And assuming they pass the bills, it will never be signed by the president. And if MPP brings in, assuming they accept that they are minority, they come in and they bring bills, it will not be passed. So it means for the rest of the time left, there will be no business in Parliament. It will just be a joke, in the sense that there's no way the majority will be passing bills of the minority. And again, there's no way the majority can pass any bill that will get the president to sign. So it means, hello?
Please go on. Please go on, sir.
It brings us back to the futility argument that I was making previously. What is the end game for all this? And I can't see any utility in all this. I think it will end up a fruitless exercise.
Well, from your submission, it seems that then it means we are going to be introducing vindictiveness into our Parliament for the rest of the year.
That is what they are doing, my sister. Because if you think about all this, that's exactly what the parties are doing. For them to have removed Siama previously, they were obviously angry with him. And for the NDC to have now pulled the rag off the feet of their own member, or some of the members, including one of their own, should tell you that this is a very wretched, wicked game that they are playing.
But at the moment,
it's not about you.
But at the moment, the NDC themselves are having issues with Amenfi Central. The seat that has been declared vacant, at the moment, they do not have anybody on the ballot paper because there is an injunction. The EC has disqualified their candidate. What could have pushed the NDC to follow this tangent? Because if it goes like this and it happens that we enter the elections without an NDC candidate on Amenfi Central's ballot paper, and this same candidate steps up as the independent candidate, how is it going to bode for the future of the NDC? Or is the NDC so confident that in this election they are going to have a clear majority, so much so that this doesn't affect them?
My sister, and they will have to contend with their own member they've thrown out now, one of their own, who happens to be eligible to stand as an independent candidate in Amenfi. So you have a situation that it will be very similar to Honorable Siama's situation in NPP.
Maybe you end up, please go on.
I'm sorry.
Please go on. I'll come in.
When you end up getting the independent member winning, in case he wins, he's in blood NDC. So you have to go and do a deal with him so that he will come and join you in terms of voting and so on. So they are also going to be in the same situation 2025 as NPP went in 2020, 2021 situation. So it's all a game.
Lawyer, for the very lay person, if this happens and say Kwakye Aka wins the Amenfi Central seat as an independent candidate, and he comes, and the NDC seeks to have him align with them or even assimilate him back into the NDC, can't another MPP person also rise to ask that his seat also be declared vacant for the very layman?
Exactly. And that's why we need to get the court to come in, because this potentially can happen again. The court need to come in.
Because it seems like a football that goes to one side and comes to the other side, it just keeps juggling between two legs.
This is what we call the ping pong game.
Exactly. Yes, the ping pong.
We used to call it table tennis. The same thing. So the court must come in to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And that's my position.
That's your position. Well, the NPP have said that the speaker was doing the bidding of the NDC. That is why he went ahead to declare this, even though the matter has been taken to court by the NPP. Do you envision that, say, in the next parliament, the speaker's name comes up again to be Speaker of Parliament? Do you think that the NPP will be will stand tall and say that let's vote for him, or do you think that the speaker may be shooting himself in the foot?
No, it depends on who wins the next election. If whoever gets majority, if it's an NDC majority, they will go for the speaker again. But trust me, if it's an NPP, there's no way they will even consider Pape. Bagwen will be no way. But it depends on who will win majority of seats in Parliament. So I think that prediction is a bit difficult because everything hinges on what will happen on December 7th, which is just around the corner. And I think the electorate will finally have to decide this once and for all. In other countries,
please go on.
Sorry.
Please go on.
In other countries, they would have called for a snap election to settle this. But in Ghana, it's different. We wait for the term finishes before election is called. So I'm sure that finally, the electorate will have to decide.
Finally, the electorate will have to decide. Let me ask you the same question I asked Dr. Draman. The NDC's flag bearer believes that this orchestration, this declaration is a good one in that it has a bearing for the NDC in winning the elections on December 7. Do you think that there will be a direct correlation between these?
Let's look at it differently. Do you expect former President Mahama to have said this is a bad move? Could you imagine if he had come out to say this is a bad move? No way. He has to say that. He has to. Because it's his party and he's the flag bearer, the leader. And you cannot go against your members. So he has to say that. But whether or not that in itself is going to decide the next election, it's a different story.
It's a different story. Say nothing else comes up beyond this declaration from now until December 7, business moves as usual. Are we setting precedents that could move our parliament on a certain tangent? Because some have argued that the speaker followed the precedents of Michael Quay, and people thought that he did not know wrong, he was right in his judgment, and others are also saying that this is a step in an unconstitutional manner. Do you think that, barring any other things rising up beyond this conversation, we are on a path of unconstitutionalism?
And that is why, my sister, that's why the court has to come in and settle this once and for all. Otherwise, this machination will continue. And I think there's more so reason why the court needs to settle this for us. Because otherwise, it's going to continue. It's a precedent, which is already set by Michael Quay, which you have to forgive Speaker Bagbe, because he has to follow the precedent there. But whether that precedent is proper in law, it's a different story. Whether that precedent is correct or not is a different story. And therefore, we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And this is why I'm of the view that this case has to go to court so that we can settle it once and for all.
Grateful for your time, Lawyer Kwame Adolfo. I know that we'll be having more conversations because it bounds to be an interesting conversation and then so much coming up after all of these have happened. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
So that's Lawyer Kwame Adolfo, who is a constitutional lawyer. He still stands by his words that we are on a tangent which may lead us into an exercise of futility. And he says that it is very necessary that at this point the courts come in and the courts give us a clear understanding on what is provided in the Constitution. The court must interpret for us what is in the Constitution so that we are all clear in our minds. And he says that it is necessary that many of the aggrieved parties take this matter to court so that we can pay more attention to it. But for those of us who are not too conversant with the Article 97 that the NDC invoked in getting these seats declared vacant, let's take a look at Article 97. Article 97 of the 1992 Constitution, it says that a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament, A, upon a dissolution of Parliament, or B, if he is elected as Speaker of Parliament, or C, if he is absent without the permission in writing of the Speaker and is unable to offer a reasonable explanation to the Parliamentary Committee on Privileges from 15 sittings of a meeting of Parliament during any period that Parliament has been summoned to meet and continues to meet, or D, if he is expelled from Parliament after having been found guilty of contempt of Parliament by a committee of Parliament, or E, if any circumstances arise such that if he were not a member of Parliament would cause him to be disqualified or ineligible for election under Article 94 of this Constitution, or F, if he resigns from Parliament as a member of Parliament by writing under his hand addressed to the Speaker, or G, let's take a look at the G, or G, if he leaves the party of which he was a member at a time of his election to Parliament to join another party, or seeks to remain in Parliament as an independent member, or H, if he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party. The article also says that notwithstanding paragraph G of clause 1 of this article, a merger of parties at the national level sanctioned by the party's constitutions or membership of the coalition government of which his original party forms part shall not affect the status of a member of Parliament. It is on the G and H that the NDC sought to invoke the Article 97 to have Speaker declare those 4 seats vacant. They were standing on G if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party, or seek to remain in Parliament as an independent member, or H, if he was elected a member of Parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party. It's on these two provisions that the NDC have based their decision and have invoked Article 97 to have those 4 seats declared vacant. And at the moment, the NDC have been successful. The Speaker has declared the seats vacant. However, Lawyer Kwame Adolfo says that the court must interpret this and interpret it clearly so that we can fully understand the extent to which the Speaker had the right to declare the seats vacant, and for us to all be very clear in our minds what the Constitution provides. We'll be looking at another topic. Let's take a very quick break. We will be back.
million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from
Night, 100 leading companies, 100 coveted business awards. This is the Ghana Club 100, powered.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching ABC in the morning live on ABC News GH. The NDC says that the disqualification of Joanna Kujo from the Amenfi Central elections come December 7 is in bad faith. The NDC says it is in bad faith and it is a travesty of justice. The NDC's parliamentary candidate for Amenfi Central, Joanna Jan Kujo, was disqualified. The EC disqualified her on October 16, citing a pending court case that challenges her eligibility to run on the NDC's ticket in the 2024 general elections. However, the NDC immediately filed an injunction application seeking to halt the Electoral Commission from printing ballot papers for that constituency. The NDC believes that the EC did not do well in disqualifying her. They have said that it's a travesty of justice, and they said that the EC did this in bad faith. The NDC having filed an injunction application seeking to halt the Electoral Commission from proceeding with the printing of the parliamentary ballot papers and notice of poll for the Amenfi Central constituency, have said that it is not right that the EC does that. And at a press conference in Accra yesterday, the NDC's General Secretary Fifi Fiavikwete slammed the Electoral Commission's move and labeled it as a travesty of justice and of legal and said that it was legally baseless. He argued that despite the injunction's expiry, the EC still disqualified Joanna Kujo and by that have violated the party's rights. The NDC says that the EC have violated the party's rights. She went head to head with Peter Kwachi Aka, the current MP for Amenfi Central, who has decided to go independent, and his seat is part of the seats that have been declared vacant by the Speaker of Parliament. And NDC, yesterday we spoke with the Deputy General Secretary Mustafa Bande. We asked them what the NDC was going to do about it. They said that they were on a reconciliatory tangent, and we shouldn't be hasty to make some conclusions at the moment. The NDC have had their press conference. They have slammed the EC. They are not happy with what the EC has done. They have also gone to court seeking to halt the process of printing of ballot papers for the parliamentary elections in Amenfi Central. Yesterday, the NDC said, when they spoke with us on ABC in the morning, the NDC said that no election in Amenfi Central will be held without the NDC on the ballot paper. They were so sure of that they would be on the ballot paper. Let's hear what happened or what transpired at the press conference yesterday.
Allow this injustice to pass. The people of Amenfi Central will not be silenced. The Electoral Commission has awakened a sleeping giant and will not back down, and we will not surrender. Let it be known to Jean Mensah and her cronies and the Electoral Commission. We see through your tricks. We know what you are trying to do. You want to turn Amenfi Central into another South, where an entire constituency was disenfranchised, where the voices of the people were silenced, and where democracy was hijacked. But here as well, Amenfi Central will not be another South, not on our watch. The NDC will fight back with everything we've got, and we will not stop until justice is done and the will of the people is restored. To our supporters, we urge you to remain resolute and be ready. Stand prepared. This fight is far from over, and the next steps will be announced very soon. We will need every hand on deck, every voice raised, and every heart committed to this cause. Because the forces of darkness, those who seek to undermine our democracy with their disgraceful shenanigans, shall be defeated. They will not prevail. We will win this fight. This is not just a fight for Amenfi Central. This is a fight for the very future of our country. This is a fight for every constituency, for every voter, for every Ghanaian who believes in democracy, fairness, and justice. The NDC will not rest.
Well, that was the General Secretary for the NDC, Fifi Abikwete. Let's speak with the Deputy General Secretary, Mustafa Gbande. Good morning, Mustafa. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Mustafa, after yesterday, you've had your press conference. You are calling the EC's decision as legally baseless. You said that it is in bad faith and it is a travesty of justice. Is the NDC going to hold the Amenfi Central constituency to ransom until the EC declares your candidate fit to contest?
It's not just legally baseless. It is also an act born out of impudence and lack of candor on the part of the Commission, and also an exercise of double standards when you have supervised. You are the very institution that supervised an election, that made the declaration of the candidate as a sole candidate in the subsequent election, only to turn back and act the way it did. We are continuing our campaign in that constituency. There will not be election in Amenfi Central without NDC representing. That I can give you fullest of assurance.
So you are holding the constituency ransom?
Well, that is not ransom. We are campaigning as we ought to do. We believe that what has happened is an administrative error, and same will be corrected in due course. We have proceeded to take an action in court. I think that is very important at this point. The rest is for the Electoral Commission to reflect. As far as we will continue to campaign in that constituency, we are going to win that seat. No matter what trap the EC is setting, that trap wouldn't work. That trap is purely an act of impudence, and it will be crushed at the right time.
Mustafa, the EC is following court processes. They are following what the courts decided. And you are also taking it to court. If you believe in the court, I believe the EC also believes in court and court declarations.
That is why we will test the legal systems. And even though I, in my personal belief, the judiciary today have been used as an instrument of interpretation of wrongs, not just rights, and also a cover-up of government and its wrong. I believe that what is law is law, what is straight is straight.
But
in the right,
if you believe
at the right
so,
time.
if you believe so of the judiciary, do you trust them taking your
I don't
case
need to
them?
trust the judiciary. I believe that the judiciary should be able to do its work. That's what I believe in. I believe that the judiciary should do its work. If it will not do its work, it is for me to think the way I think. But at some point, it's for the profession to be protected, the institution to be protected, and do justice to what is expected. The judiciary must give fidelity to the implication of laws, and also ensure that there is a fundamental respect to the rule of law. You cannot unnecessarily disadvantage a political party in this era of democracy where people's representation is what defines our democracy. I don't think that is the way to go. I don't think the Electoral Commission have acted well. I think that I blame the Member of Parliament who in his own pursuit think that he can hold the party to ransom. You cannot hold a political party to ransom. No individual can do that. I think that in
Mustafa, why are you blaming your Member of Parliament? He's decided to now go independent.
He's the one who requires people to be in court. He's the same person when given another opportunity, forged signatures of people. And so, who should I blame? This is not the same man who should have gone to withdraw his case, knowing that he has participated in the subsequent election. If you say that you are in court, then you shouldn't have participated in the subsequent election, knowing very well that the General Secretary took the decision to nullify the election because of you, to give you a second chance to contest and see if there can be corrections out of the vote. And then you ended up forging people's signature. What should the party do again?
Well, Mustafa, the same Member of Parliament says he's open to collaborating with you. Yesterday when we spoke, you said that your party was on a path of reconciliation. What changed? Today, your tone doesn't sound like a reconciliatory tone like you used yesterday.
I am not telling, I have just reiterated to you that the party in all of these matters have remained very reconciliatory. I have told you, I have made it very clear to you that the party is on reconciliation. And if you are proclaiming that you want to reconcile on the party in one hand and holding the party to ransom on another hand, are you a genuine person? Are you a genuine person? His collaboration is that the party should withdraw its candidate and support his independent candidature. Never, it will happen.
So Mustafa,
the party will not do that.
You are not ready to receive him back into the NDC?
I don't understand what you are talking about. It means you are not listening. The person is contesting on independent candidature. We haven't suspended him. We are giving him room to reflect and to withdraw his action. And you are saying that I should admit him in, have we sacked him?
I mean, beyond the elections, let's say you go into the elections, it has happened that members of parliament have gone independent and have won ahead of the parties that they originally belonged to. And it is on this basis that I ask that, in case any of this happens, in any case, would you receive him into your party?
Why are you asking me to talk about something that will happen in December? We are here. The man is on independent ticket. Okay, he hasn't withdrawn. The EC is trying to sabotage our candidate as a result of the actions instituted with the involvement of the MP being the backdoor. If we are trying to resolve these matters, why should I be talking about him winning? Why not rather say that he should come back, reflect, and come behind the party for us to move on? He's not the first member of parliament who have lost elections, and he won't be the last. We think that our members of parliament have done well. They've held the fort in opposition for 7 to 8 years, and that we would have wished that every member of parliament remained. But election is what brought all of us here. So if the electorate says that is enough, they need somebody else, I don't think you should hold the party to ransom. In any case, when he moved from the MPP and joined the NDC, we made him a DC. And then he removed the sitting MP and became an MP for 2 terms. If nobody can remove the other, why did he remove a sitting MP? You see, so when the party have given you an opportunity to empower yourself, you don't turn back to hold that same party to ransom. That's what the point I'm making.
Okay. Mustafa, what your party says is that it will fight till the very end of the line. Your General Secretary mentioned that. When you say that you will fight till the very end of the line, what are you implying?
Every action humanly possible that will ensure that we give justice to everyone that deserves, we do justice to the party and get the party fair representation, that cause will be advanced. That action will be taken, and we will do that path until we get things done correctly.
Any action humanly possible, like you're going to the court, what kind of actions are humanly possible?
Politicians don't say everything. You want us to become journalists. We say half and we leave half into our pockets. When we get to that bridge, our actions will manifest the consequences, and then you will get to see. But in the meantime, every humanly possible action that will help us, get to the finality of this matter, we will advance.
Well, before I leave, Mustafa, yesterday the Speaker declared 4 seats vacant. One of the seats is Honorable Peter Kwachiake's seat. How is your party taking all that is happening in Parliament?
Well, I think that is administratively is a lesson for all political parties. For 2 things that brings these things is disloyalty on the part of members, and then also leadership quality. So when the internal center cannot hold, then you see some of these disintegrations. And then sometimes when people become excessively greedy and personalized, then you see these. So there's a call for us as political parties to scrutinize properly the kind of people we take to Parliament and how we relate with them. Number 2, it also gives the people of Ghana a cause to believe that this government requires stricter accountability, and then we have to salvage what is left. In the next 2 months, they have stolen a lot of money, and if they have the opportunity, they will finish everything before they go. And so if we've had a chance to scrutinize this government the more, I think it helps Ghanaians. And I think that at this point, it also opens the window for an impeachment process to be commenced against President Akufo-Addo for his destruction of our forest reserves and also our water bodies. President Akufo-Addo must not escape, accountability of destroying our forest reserves. He must be impeached. And if Parliament have changed hands, I think it opens a window for Ghanaians to institute an action for his impeachment. He should not be allowed to finish his 8th term of office without being impeached. And I think that the last bit is that it also gives Ghanaians a cause now to hold NDC majority members highly responsible, because we couldn't do the things we have to do, fight the way we have to fight for the people of Ghana as opposition when we were in minority. Now, for the first time, we are a majority when a government is a minority. It hasn't happened in the history of this country that a government in power is a minority. What they postponed last 3 years is what has surely come to pass. It also means the MPP has disintegrated. They are not a group that are together. They are so divided. They are not qualified to be in government. They have one political party arising from it. Now 3 members of Parliament are going on independence, whilst we have 1. We are trying to deal with it. So they are not qualified to be in government. They are so selfish, they are so divided, they are so disintegrated, and these people are not ones that can protect the destiny of this nation. That is what it means.
The destiny of the nation.
Come again.
You said the MPP cannot protect the destiny of the nation.
No. Everything Nana Addo have been a distraction to this country. Everything Nana Addo and Bawumia have been a setback to this country. In fact, they are going to opposition. It's even important for the NDC to go and rebrand the MPP, to go and rebrand itself, because what these governments represent today is only a syndicate of political fraudsters. They don't represent the MPP. What we do in the NDC, majority of senior members of the MPP are supporting us. They believe that this government must go so that they can have their party away from Akufo-Addo's grips. Any vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is an entrenchment to Akufo-Addo to continue the wrongs. It's the biggest loser if this party go to opposition. As far as MPP is concerned, it's Nana Addo, because he will have the gain. He will remote Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia like our radio TV remote. Bawumia will not be in charge, and the same corruption scandals are what we are going to be seeing. So if Ghanaians really want a change to safeguard the Republic of Ghana, our democracy, our economy, and our natural resources, the entire government and its remnants must go. President Akufo-Addo must have nothing to do with governance of this country anymore. Because as far as I'm concerned, his whole being of 8 years in government is a setback and an affliction, overwhelming affliction to the people of Ghana, giving us poverty hardship, economic hardship, unbearable economic and living crisis that Ghanaians are going through. Businesses are collapsing. And I think that we need to make that move nationalistic. It shouldn't just be the case of NDC. We shouldn't leave this fight for only the NDC. It's a national responsibility to get this group of people who are holding to power away. It's a national responsibility to ensure that Nana Addo has nothing to do with the next governance of this country, given any opportunity. And I think that is what it is.
Mustafa, following what happened in Parliament yesterday, how confident are you of retaining a majority beyond the December 7 election?
NDC is going to maintain and win an overwhelming majority in Parliament. Look, the defeat, the gap will be so big that the MPP would regret what they have done to the people of Ghana. I can assure you that. They will regret. Every Ghanaian today believes that there should be a change. It doesn't matter party affiliation, and that is what is going to happen. That is what exactly is going to happen.
So, thank you for speaking with us, Mustafa.
I'm grateful.
Mustafa Gbande is the Deputy General Secretary for the National Democratic Congress. He's had a lot to say on this conversation. The EC has disqualified the parliamentary candidate for the NDC in their Memphis Central constituency. NDC says that the EC's decision is an act born out of impudence and lack of candor. And he says that it is an administrative error, and the EC is trying to sabotage the NDC's candidate. The NDC has taken this matter up to court. We will see how it plays out, how it pans out, and we'll see the matters that arise from that. That's all for our discussion for today. Let's get straight into politics today. Politics today we are assessing the perspective of electorates on political slogans ahead of the elections. It's not surprising that we have so many slogans in Ghana when we are going for elections. We are a nation that love our slogans. We love to attach slogans to everything. It reminds us of what we are looking for, what we are aiming towards. And this general elections, it's not different from all of the others. And as Ghana approaches these this December 7 polls, slogans have begun to take center stage in the campaign discourse. These catchphrases, often simple yet powerful, serve as tools for political parties to communicate their vision and rally support. In a diverse and competitive democracy like Ghana's, slogans play a crucial role in shaping political opinion, galvanizing voters, and creating a narrative around political ideologies. Political slogans are crafted to be memorable and emotionally resonant. In Ghana, where elections are hotly contested, parties utilize slogans to differentiate themselves and connect with the electorate. For instance, the incumbent NPP slogan, "Like it is possible," emphasizes stability and economic recovery. On the other hand, NDC could adopt slogans that highlight change and accountability and economic reform. On this session of Politics Today, we took to the streets of Accra to ask Ghanaians what they make of slogans that have been used in the current campaign. Let's listen to what Ghanaians had to say on this.
Well, first of all, I would say slogans are not something that should influence votes, but it should be based on policies. Because, this generation, we've not lived long enough to witness loss of the past presidents, and including the current ones. But at the end of the day, it's policies that I think should matter. What are they? What do they have in place for the youth of this country? What do they have for the vision of this country? Everyone can come up with a slogan, but what about the implementation? And we've lived long enough to witness some of this so catchy slogans that came in the past elections, but what are we seeing today? We've had people who came saying that the economic whiskets, they are going to arrest the dollar, but it seems the dollar has now broken the jail. So instead of breaking the 8, we are now breaking the jail. And I don't think slogans should be something that is going to influence me personally to vote. We should look at the policies of some of these political parties and how true it is. If they have blueprints and map that shows that any policies that they do bring, they are going to implement it. That should be what we should be looking at, and not slogans.
Breaking the 8. Actually, I'm not sure about it, because looking at things going on in Ghana, Bawumia has actually failed us due to some one or two things that he came to say. He said previously when they were coming on power, it was like taxes will come down, but taxes have now gone high. And the youth are suffering actually by that. Looking at now, the ECG2 have come out with another meter, which is actually bringing the spirit of the youth down, because in a week you can buy power about 100 cedis. Sometimes 3 days, 50 cedis. It's even bringing us down. And looking at the 6 fees, I heard something that is said which it's not encouraged by saying that he wants to take the sea to Kumasi. And in fact, looking at that, if you take the sea to Kumasi, then you will be suffering from food. Because Kumasi is termed to be the forestry. They plant, they grow foodstuffs and stuff. We have timbers from that end. So I don't think that one will happen. And actually the 24-hour economy, I've actually not gotten the idea. Well, so I can't say much about that. You see, they are saying that 24-hour economy, right? I believe that 24-hour economy will help most of the youth out there, because they don't have work to do at the moment, because the banks have been closed for some years and no work is going on at this moment. You understand? All that sounds to
home is too. You'll get something to do. Maybe some shifts out there. So you can go maybe in the morning or the afternoon. Your home is reduced.
Have shared what they think about slogans in our elections. The same way we found out how music impacts you when you're going to vote. The various political songs. We've also looked at the slogans. Be rest assured that we'll be bringing you more interesting conversations of the things that matter or the things that we really don't even pay attention to but play a certain role in the decisions we make when we go to the election. That's all for politics today. Let's get into Happy Hour. Are you excited for the weekend? If you are, take a listen to this song, Shake Your Body, as you get ready for the weekend.
Make the girl them wine. Me no want see no girl with the phone in your hand.